And even once you've got the ballast down and you've got some grass, maybe you've got some trees and everything as well. And I'm going to be talking about a couple ways that you can make your layout a little bit more visually interesting or aesthetically pleasing. Welcome back everyone, Kieran here from Hearns Hobbies, and I have something different today. So this is going to be a different video to what I normally do with the product reviews and all that. And I'm going to be talking about a couple ways that you can make your layout a little bit more visually interesting or aesthetically pleasing. So of course, once you get your layout down, you've got your track down, you've laid out all your track onto some foam or onto some cork. And even once you've got the ballast down and you've got some grass, maybe you've got some trees and everything as well, that can all help to bring a layout to life. But what really helps to bring it even more to life and really make it look quite populated and like an actual miniature scene is once you start adding people. And the easiest way to do that is with some of the Woodland Scenics packs here. So I've got a couple on hand here at the moment. And another way to do that is also with a few vehicles. So the vehicles that usually you get for your HO and N scale, there's a couple different places that make them. There's like your Prizer and the Europe. Knock is another one that does it as well. Woodland Scenics is American based, so you'll find a lot of American kind of scenes there, from baseball bats and scenes to football players and American firefighters and all that. And with the vehicles, there is also things like Oxford Diecast. So that's these here. And they do come in a couple different scales. So I've managed to pick out two from their 00 scale range. So 1 to 76. But they do also have a 1 to 87, which is your cars are going to look a little bit smaller than your 1 to 76 because they technically are. But they're also their range of 1 to 87 cars is more American. So it almost balances out between the larger, small British cars versus the smaller, large American cars. But they are die-cast, very nice, very nicely detailed and everything, very nicely painted. You can just kind of collect them in a box. I have had people come in and say that they like to put them on display inside their box and collect them like that. But they are also good for helping to populate a layout. Bit of weight to them as well. And usually the wheels will roll a little bit. So there is potential to make them a rolling vehicle in the future. But that's a topic for another video. We do also have here the Road Rages range, which is part of the Kui Classics, also die-cast, and really good for if you're doing any kind of older Australian kind of models, or any kind of Australian layout, because they are 1 to 87, so they're technically the correct scale for the Australian HO, whereas your 1 to 76 might look a little bit more out of place. Compared to things like your Victorian Railways K classes, D3s and C classes and all that. They do also have a bus, and I know Oxford Diecast also produce a couple buses, trucks and what have you. But if you're after something Australian, this would be my go-to. So right here in this box here, I have a bus that's got grinders painted on the side. This was an older bus service that I believe a lot of customers are quite familiar with and have been on before. Not around anymore, unfortunately, but grab a bit of this. This model specifically is from 1957 to 59. So you can add that to your layout. If you're doing your Australian models from the 60s, which is usually what I find most people tend to go for, because that tended to be the crossover period between the steam and the diesel, and it can create some more interesting kind of running scenes. Whereas a lot of your 70s to 80s or something like 80s to 90s, you might find that you have a lot more diesels running than steam, and vice versa if you went further back for things like your 40s or your 30s. That, and there seems to be a lot more ready to run Victorian Railways in HO scale for your 1950s, 60s era, where there was that crossover period. But yeah. So very nice little die-cast bus. Of course, if a bus is too big and you want something smaller, there are also these cars here. I've just picked out two from the range at the moment, but right here we have a FC Special Sedan in a flame red and ivory livery. And here we have a 1968 XT Falcon GT. And it is gold with a black vinyl roof. So you can, it's going to be a little hard to see it from that camera there, but I'll do a little zoom in. You can see that the roof on it is actually like a matte black kind of finish to represent that vinyl kind of canvas covering on it. Very nicely detailed again, and a nice little Australian addition to any kind of layout. Right here we've got Austin Maestro from Oxford Diecast and a Armstrong Siddeley Star Sapphire. Again, I think I like the livery of this one a little bit better. If you call it liveries with cars, paintwork, something like that. They are both 1 to 76 instead of your 1 to 87, but they do have that scale available, and they also have an N scale range as well. Usually their N scale range is very similar to their 00, and it's just scaled down to about half the size, usually aimed towards the English. But if you're doing an Australian kind of layout, you can probably get away with it a little bit, because we got a few cars from both America and England imported during those times. Apart from the ones that we made ourselves, some of them do match up quite well with an Australian scene. Of course, what are cars without people? And so I have this Woodland Scenics pack here, and it's just called Mickey's Milk Delivery. And so here we have, well, like what I assume is Mickey delivering milk to some girl. And so it's a nice way to create a little bit of the scene and get a little milk truck to go along with it as well, or any kind of vehicle too. There's a couple other ones available too, but this is the one that I have here at the moment. And of course you can create other scenes too. So just for a bit of interest, there's a windy day play, which is what they call it. It's really just some kids flying some kites, and they've got the string for the kites in this kit is just some wire, just to help hold it up quite high and position it in the right spot. Obviously your string in HO scale, if you try to hook up to kites this small, it's not going to hold them up very high. You might have a bit more of an interesting scene with the kite on the ground. You can probably still create that with this scene here too, but at least you've got the option of having it up in the air and a bit more vertical interest between scenes. We also have some black bears here as well. So what are people without animals? If you've got any kind of forest, or they probably suit an American layout a bit more than any kind of English or Australian, but they do create an interesting scene. And so you've got a few little cubs and things here as well to go along with the adult bears. And it can even just be, I like to add little Easter eggs into a lot of my layouts. So that can just be an interesting little Easter egg that you have. There's of course some N-scale people too. So this one's called An Accident Waiting to Happen. And there's a couple of different things happening in this scene here. So there's two people here with a glass pane. There's some rubbish bins, some kids playing. There's even a little police officer, and another figure to go along with it as well. And also for the N scale, we have some cats and dogs. So they look like they're designed to create a bit of a street scene, but you can probably use them anywhere. If you're creative enough, they can blend in with anything, right? So we do have a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. We've got a couple other dogs sitting and standing in various positions, and a few cats here as well. They are incredibly tiny though. So if you do want to get some N-scale figures or some N-scale animals specifically, Usually the figures are okay to handle and deal with a little bit better. Yeah, they are still a little bit fine, but they're big enough to hold in your hand without too much trouble. Whereas your cats and your dogs, you're going to want to be very careful that you don't immediately lose them. Otherwise, you might find a dog lying over on the floor 6 months after you needed it for a scene. Or, well, at least a model of a dog. I hope your actual dog's not eating these. We do also have our own range of passengers. So these are relatively new. We do have, I'll show you the 2 packs. We do have one pack that's unpainted, so you can paint it up and detail it the way you want it to. And we do have one that's painted ready to go, so you can just buy a couple packs of those, fit them to your carriages, even fit them on a couple seats. So there's, if you have a scene at a station and you want some people to populate it, they are only $10 as well, and for that you get about 6 figures in a pack, which isn't too bad. Usually the Woodland Scenics ones are about $20 to $30 for a pack of little figures, depending on the scene that you get and what else is included in it. But you've got a couple different options here. If you want to make a scene a bit more interesting visually, this is a good way to do it. So you've got some cars, you've got some people, and there's a couple different little scenes that you can add as well. Can recommend, they're an easy way to get some odd little scenes to go along with it. We do also have part of the prizer range here as well, and I know that we have had some knock in the past too. Like I say, don't knock it until you try it. The Woodland Scenics range is quite extensive and can blend in with most scenes. Just don't look too close at things like the bear eyes, because they're not the... you might start to have nightmares. Anyway, alright. That's about all I have for you today. So just a short one again today. I can give you a little bit of inspiration for your layouts in the future. If you want to come in and check out the range, don't be afraid to come in. We can always help you out. Or if there's something that you're after, let us know and we can see what we can do about it. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you found some little inspiration just from watching this. Alright, see you next time.